Today we're going to learn how to create a wooden engraving effect in Adobe Photoshop. Now to do that we're going to be playing around with the layer style options, and also we're going to be adding a couple of adjustment layers to really blend it in as well. So to get us started, just add the wooden texture effects that you're going to use into Adobe Photoshop, and I'm going to drag and drop this texture here. Now drag and drop the image that you want to engrave on top of the texture, and I'm going to use this picture of a tree, which is quite ironic. Now I'm going to change the size of the tree by holding Shift and Alt on the keyboard and then dragging in the corner to make sure that it resizes but stays within perspective, and then just let go like so and hit Enter on the keyboard to place it on top of the background layer. Now we're going to open the layer style options of the tree, and to do that just double click on the layer in the layer panel. In the blending options, change the fill opacity to 0 and make sure it's not the normal opacity. So just change that to 0 and the tree will disappear, but don't worry about that. Next, select bevel and emboss and change the style to emboss and the technique to chisel hard. Change the direction to down, the depth to 200, the size to 30, the highlight mode as overlay, the opacity at about 25%, the shadow mode as multiply, and the opacity at about 50%. Now choose contours and select the fourth one across, which is Cove Deep. And then just click away like so and go over to texture. Select the pattern that you want to use. I'm just going to use this fourth one across and change the depth to between 5 and 15% just to add a little bit of the texture to it. So I think I'm going to have mine at the low end and just choose about 5. Next, select inner shadow. Change the distance to, I'm going to have mine at about 2 because I don't really want a big shadow, but if you're using like blocky text or a blocky image, then add a bigger shadow. And have the choke at 0, and I'm going to have the size at 0 as well, just to make it as minimal as possible. Then select outer glow. Change the blend mode to color burn. The opacity to about 15%. Make sure that the gradient is set to black or the color is set to black. The size at about 250 and the spread at 20%. So you can see that that's added like a burn effect around the outside, and it's starting to make it blend in a little bit better than it did before. So that's pretty much it for the layer style option, so I'm just going to hit OK. Next, duplicate the background layer, so click on it and then press Ctrl and J to make a duplicate, and drag the background copy to the top, and then hold Ctrl and select the tree layer or the layer that we're trying to engrave, so it makes a selection like so. And the next thing to do is on the background copy layer, just add a layer mask. So what that's done is it's added a layer mask on top of the selection of the tree below. Now we're going to add a brightness and contrast adjustment layer. Change the brightness to about -75 and the contrast to 100. And then just click the cross to get rid of it, and add a clipping mask between the two layers by holding Alt between the brightness and contrast layer and the background copy layer. So you'll see the square and the arrow pointing down while you're holding Alt, and then just click on it like so to add a clipping mask, and only to add the color on the inside of our image. Next we're going to open the blend if of the background copy, so just double click on the right hand side, and on the this layer panel hold Alt on the keyboard and drag the left hand pointer up to the right hand side to roughly about 120. So as you can see, what that's doing is it's blending with the underlying layer. Now I'm just going to hit OK. Now we want to add a gradient fill adjustment layer on top of everything, so select the brightness layer and choose adjustment layers and select gradient. Have the style as radial, the angle at 90 degrees, the scale at about 370. Click reverse so it goes round the outsides and doesn't come from the center, and then just hit OK. Now we want to change the blend if, or go into blend if and adjust it on the gradient fill layer, so double click on the layer in the layers panel, change the blend mode to linear burn, the opacity to about 75%, and on the underlying layer drag the bottom right left pointer over to the left hand side while holding Alt to make it a little bit lighter. Again, you can just play around with these settings, so I might just decrease the opacity, say to about 40%, just to lighten the whole thing up just a little bit more. And that's pretty much how you create an engraved image in Adobe Photoshop. Now, play around with the settings, obviously just use mine as sort of a benchmark, and you can create loads of different effects just by following those steps. But I hope you like this tutorial, guys. Please like, share, don't be a pen tool, and subscribe to my channel.